Have you ever spent an afternoon with a friend and walked away feeling like your battery hit zero? You went in feeling energetic, but you left feeling completely depleted. Cognitive psychology explains this through the information processing model. This framework views the mind as a system taking in sensory data, processing it, and producing a behavioral response. However, our working memory has a strictly limited capacity. When overloaded, it creates a processing bottleneck. Healthy friendships operate like optimized software, running efficiently and returning energy to the system. Draining friends, however, act like background malware, silently consuming your mental RAM until there is nothing left for your own cognitive tasks. This exhaustion isn't a vague mood swing. It is the result of resource hoarding, where your brain's processing power is diverted away from your own functioning to manage their perpetual input. To identify where your energy is going, we can run a malware scan on your relationships, looking for specific behaviors that trigger this cognitive overload. The first sign is conversational narcissism. They hijack every discussion to focus on their own experiences, leaving you with zero processing capacity for your own thoughts or emotions. Second is the pattern of the unpaid therapist. They disappear when life is good, but flood your system with crisis data the moment things go wrong, treating the friendship as an emergency hotline rather than a connection. Then there is chronic venting. This is emotional dumping, where they transfer their stress load onto you without any intention of active problem solving. The fourth sign is a lack of emotional reciprocity. When you try to share your own feelings, they minimize or dismiss them, starving your system of the validation it needs to maintain a balanced connection. Fifth is a high conflict orientation. Their constant drama forces your brain to allocate massive resources to perpetual threat assessment, constantly scanning the horizon for the next inevitable interpersonal storm. Finally, notice if you need physical recovery time after seeing them. This is the biological indicator that your system has been overworked and needs complete solitude to recharge. Collectively, these 6 behaviors act as background programs that consume all available cognitive bandwidth, leaving you mentally and physically spent. The danger isn't just temporary tiredness, it affects your schemas. These are internal mental structures used to organize social interactions. When constantly subjected to emotional malware, these healthy frameworks warp. You develop maladaptive schemas, distorted ways of viewing yourself and others. Because your internal resources are constantly diverted to their crises, your brain begins to lose the ability to differentiate between your data and theirs. You start categorizing their emotional stability as an urgent task for your own system to complete, creating a distorted sense of responsibility for their happiness. These negative thought patterns create a cycle of anxiety, trapping you in a perception where you feel you owe the other person your total attention, even at your own expense. The true cost of a draining friend is this invisible, long-term rewriting of your emotional reality, permanently altering your cognitive landscape. To correct these distortions, we can use techniques from cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, to identify and restructure these unhelpful thought patterns. The first step is identifying faulty cognitions. This means recognizing that the friend's constant drama is a programmed behavior on their part, not an objective reality that you are required to fix. You start the maintenance process by actively identifying the drain. By staying aware of those 6 malware signs during an interaction, you can stop the automatic processing of their stress. Next, you must limit the bandwidth you provide. This involves disappointment exposure therapy, the practice of saying no to requests that would overextend your resources, even if it causes temporary discomfort for the other person. Finally, you enforce the firewall by demanding emotional reciprocity. If the relationship cannot provide mutual support, you must restrict that person's access to your cognitive system. Setting these boundaries often feels cold, but it is necessary system maintenance. You are not being antisocial. You are preserving the resources you need to function. Healthy friendships should optimize your life, not deplete it. Protecting your cognitive processing power is the ultimate form of self-preservation.